Good morning. Today is Wednesday, October 11th, 2017. My name is Susan Gerhardt, and I'm here this morning with Chef Michael Ritt, our executive chef.
Good morning, good morning.
And Michael has someone to introduce to us this morning.
I'd like to introduce to everybody Jose Montanez. Jose is our new executive chef for Woodland Skies restaurant, and he is starting his third week here. And we're so excited to have Jose on board, and I know Jose's been talking to a lot of the residents in the dining room, and they're excited to have him, and I'll let him talk a little bit about himself.
Welcome, Chef Jose. We're glad you're here. Before we start, we do need to tell our listeners that this is a call-in show today. And if you have questions for Michael or Chef Jose, our number this morning is 703-663-3333. Chef Jose, tell us a little bit about you. You're coming to us from where?
I came from George Mason University.
George Mason University.
Yes, I was working for another company, and I moved from Maryland to Virginia last year, and it's been a really, really nice opportunity for me to be here.
How many students did you feed at George Mason?
5,000.
5,000. I was thinking this morning as I was walking over here, I thought, three places that are similar: military services, colleges, and senior living communities. What do they have in common? Everybody thinks they have to complain about the food. So they all have similar challenges.
Yes.
So you're fitting in well here.
Yes.
Yes, that's good. And I know that the residents are going to be excited to have you, and nobody's going to be complaining about the food. Woodland Skies is a wonderful restaurant, and they'll be thrilled to have you here. What's your specialty?
Well, I like to cook Caribbean food.
Ooh.
That is something that I really, really like. I love plantains.
Good. Plantains.
Yes.
I would say that's something we haven't had on the menu for a while, and I bet a lot of people have never tasted.
Okay, you're going to see it on the menu.
That's wonderful. That will be exciting. Good. Chef Michael.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us what you have to tell us this morning.
Well, a couple things that are coming up. Obviously, tonight we have our evening with the chef. And
oh, that's right.
Yeah, we're doing our Oktoberfest theme.
I saw the menu. It sounds very Deutsch.
It's very Deutsch. Very, we got the October theme going. We have a really nice beer cheese soup, and we're doing a veal schnitzer and some sauerbraten, and we're doing a really nice berry streusel with a couple other figs wrapped in bacon, and beef bittenballen, and which is a ground beef seasoned, which is fried and served with a mustard sauce. So we got a few German items that I think the residents are going to enjoy. And
Sounds
of course,
very
it's
good.
always paired with some wine. I think that's one of the
I'm sure there's some good German wine.
Absolutely.
That's
so
good.
we have that going on. Excuse me. And then on the 18th is Diwali, and we're going to be celebrating that. And you'll see, each kitchen will be serving an item to celebrate that.
Now, Diwali is an Indian
holiday,
An
correct?
Indian holiday, festival of light.
Yes. So we'll probably one of the items could be a rice pudding, or we're looking at there's other like pastries that we could serve. So we're looking at what we're going to offer in the dining room, so that you'll see that.
That will be interesting.
On the 25th, on the 23rd, Jefferson has their town hall, and it's 11 to 12, and that's over in the Jefferson dining room. And like all our town halls, we invite all the residents to come and express their I say comments, concerns, or questions. And it's a great time to have that more one-on-one approach about that particular dining venue. It doesn't have to be one that you frequent all the time. It could be one that you come in now and then. If you have some questions, we always welcome. You and I have talked about this for years. I don't know what I don't know. So we say either talking to us when you see any of the chefs going through the dining room. A lot of residents email myself, comment cards, town halls. So we try to make as many communication vehicles possible for our residents to express their concerns.
And this is a really good time to come and ask questions. They usually have these set up with microphones,
Absolutely.
so your questions can be heard, the answers can be heard.
You'll have the managers there. I'm usually there. Ty Wilson, our dining director's there. The management team from that certain venue will be there with the chefs. So it's a great opportunity. And then on the 21st, 25th, we have breast cancer awareness, and we're going to be doing lobby treats.
Good.
It's a very important and very, close to my heart, awareness and function that
This is the
we
month
do.
to think pink. I'm thinking you'll probably have some pink cookies or something like that.
I'm not going to give it away.
You're not going to tell us.
And then obviously we have Halloween coming up, and we'll be doing a Halloween menu and fireside. All the dining rooms are going to be doing a Halloween menu. You'll see signature dining will be suspended for that evening.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to have a Halloween themed menu.
Oh, so this is going to be a big thing. This is
Yeah.
not just going to be just a little something.
No. The menu will
going
be
all out.
Halloween themed. And the staff like to dress up for this day, and the managers like to decorate their dining room. So I think it's going to be.
So if residents would like to do something a little costumey, they're welcome to do so.
As long as
also.
it's in good taste.
Darn, in good taste.
But, we have that going on, and obviously we have the elephant in the room, as we say,
Yes.
the construction.
Okay, tell us where we are with construction.
So-
I understand that we're going to be a little flexible again.
We're going to be a little flexible. I like your choice of words, but like all construction jobs, you don't know what, as I say, you don't know. Once you get into the construction part, there are issues that come up, and I don't want to get into the formalities and the technical, but, as all construction, there's delays for whatever reason.
So when last we heard, the last plan was that we thought that this coming Sunday, we were going to be making a change. And I understand that as of this
That
past
has-
Monday, that has changed.
That has been put on hold. The new date will be Monday, 11/13.
Okay, the 13th of November, we're
correct.
going to make a change.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I have to be nosy and
I
ask,
know you are going to
What-
ask. Go ahead.
what happened? Why are we changing the date?
Well, we had some, I guess you could say, issues come up that postponed the delay in turning it over, be it transportation, delivery issues. We ran into some challenges in the build out, not to our fault, but as you go, Town Center is a very old building, and until you start literally digging, you don't know what's in floors, walls, ceilings. So you have to be prepared for these issues. And like any construction job, sometimes you hit those snags.
So this kind of, in some ways, went back 20 years saying, oh, I wish we'd been here to see that they did it a little better the first time.
And remember, 20 years ago, the way they built buildings is a lot different than how we do things now. And also, in construction, they have the saying, measure twice, cut once. So that's the process that we like to do. I will tell everybody this, that when this project is done, what you're going to be handed over in the kitchen is going to be phenomenal. The lighting that we're putting in is LED. It's brighter and it uses less electricity. What we call FRP, fire-resistant paneling, is up to code, and it's a much better product. The floor, we're not going to be, the staff's not going to be walking on that, red Coriton, chef can tell you, there's no resistance in that. It's just like walking on a sidewalk all day long.
Right.
So the epoxy floor we're putting in
Has a little more give.
It has a little more give. It's not as hard. It also goes when you put it on down, it goes up the wall. Instead of like a regular floor that just goes into the base of the wall and sits there, this you can actually build up the wall so that then it keeps water from getting underneath the boards where we had issues before when we did the dish program.
And it's a lot cleaner.
It's a lot cleaner, it's a lot more sanitary, it's a lot more safer. So there's a lot of win-wins. We're also upgrading some of the equipment. We're relocating some of the equipment so that the Fireside Kitchen, Potomac and Fireside Kitchen, is going to be more user-friendly and more productive. We're also adding in another cooler into the storeroom so that the cafe now will have their own cooler.
Oh, good.
And the Fireside will have their own cooler. It'll be easier to separate. It'll be easier to manage. It'll be easier on purchasing. I guarantee you'll see that it'll help us on our purchases, that it'll be much easier to manage. And imagine when you look at the volume, it is by venue the busiest venue we have with sheer cover counts, because you have a cafe and a dining room, and the cafe is going all day long. So when we were doing the design, we're like, why not add in another cooler? It's not a huge cooler, it's a smaller cooler, but now the cafe can manage their own
So
stuff.
you're not sharing a cooler.
You're not sharing a cooler. There's not, it's much more manageable. This is yours, this is theirs. It all comes on one order, but it's easier to store, it's easier to manage, it's easier to count.
So as we've been working on this, we've had some glitches. We're having to move the date back again. So what's that going to mean? So for the fireside and the cafe, instead of having to eat from plastic and have some things change on October 15th.
Business as usual.
Business as usual, as we've been going.
Correct.
Up until about November 13th.
Correct.
And then on November 13th, we'll be, or in that area,
We'll be doing
we'll be
a
making
switch
a
over.
change.
And basically what's going to happen is, and you yourself, you asked me some questions, and I actually sat and answered some of these.
That's encouraging.
And excuse my eyesight, I think one of your questions was, are we going to have everything that the Jefferson has as like a salad bar?
But that's starting in November.
This is all for November.
Let's not worry about
Okay, we can
November
forget about
right
that.
now.
I know one of the questions you asked, so it's going in November, so you asked me about a particular day.
I asked you about Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving's coming up and people are making family plans. What's going to be happening for Thanksgiving this year?
Thanksgiving Day, I can tell you that the fireside dining room will be closed.
The fireside dining room will be closed for Thanksgiving.
Day,
What about
correct.
the cafe? Do we know?
Cafe, we are looking at, and we're still talking about what kind of service will it be, just carry out. So we're going to look at that. That'll be announced shortly.
So we don't know yet.
Correct. Now, the reason why, and everyone is, why are we closing down the fireside? Why are you doing this? It's not, we look at the community as a whole, and we look at dining as a whole and how we can offer the service that the residents should get. Thanksgiving is a family, traditional, families come together. Well, we use the PDR in that dining room quite substantially during Thanksgiving. There's a lot of larger parties that we turn that dining room, that particular room, over twice, sometimes 3 times. So we cannot use that because it's used for storage. Also, with the buffet going in the fireside, now we're going to have to take out about 5 tables right in the middle. So now we have less seating. So if we can move it to the conference center, we can put about 250 people sitting down, 200 to 250 comfortably in the conference center. We can accommodate large parties. We can do a full buffet menu, and we can do it on China, where we always would have to use disposables. Who wants to eat their Thanksgiving meal with plastic utensils and disposables?
So the plan for Thanksgiving Day is that Woodland Skies will be open, the Jefferson Dining Room will be open.
Correct.
And Hunter's Crossing will be open.
Well,
The conference center.
Conference center, correct.
So there will be instructions coming out between
Correct.
now and then, according to, it doesn't mean that if you eat in the fireside now, you will be forced to go and eat in the Hunter's Crossing Conference Center. You will have choices about where you may
Absolutely.
eat, where if you have a larger family group, where that group may choose to eat. Stay tuned for instructions.
Absolutely.
They
And-
will come soon,
Right.
and not soon being 2 days ahead of time.
No.
Within the next couple of weeks.
My understanding is that there was a flyer already sent out about the change in dates. I think we sent one here to Channel 6, and you'll see on the resident menu. I think the one thing that we try to do here, especially in our department, is, I wouldn't say over-communicate, but we definitely try to communicate out using all tools at our disposal.
And you do a good job of
Be it the
that.
Village Bridge, Channel 6, resident menu, at the host desk, the community boards, many options. Talking to our dining service committee, so that they can cascade out the information. So we're not going to, come from left field, as they say,
course not.
and tomorrow we're doing this. No, you're going to get plenty of notice. There's going to be plenty of instructions. We're going to, and there's reasons to why.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the reason is that we want to give our residents the best service possible.
And the best food possible.
And the best food possible. And we just felt with the way that operation would be for Thanksgiving, with moving, and remember, we're talking about whole turkeys and, carving and this and that we wouldn't be able to offer a true Thanksgiving meal and fireside to our residents. I understand some residents say, well, now you're forcing me to go here and go there. Well, I always tell residents, Signature Dining, the dining program, we encourage residents to travel around. I know you travel around. I know you like the cafe, but you still travel around. And that's the way I think you can, appreciate the whole program. If you like to dine in a particular venue, so be it, and that's your choice, but we offer in all venues. You don't always have to eat here. You don't always have to eat there. And we encourage that. I saw over here in Woodland Skies they were doing this. Well, why can't we get that here? Well, why can't
because we have it over here.
Why can't you
Right.
go over there and try that? So at any given day, I think the beauty of the program is there's so many options for you to have.
We have a huge amount of variety.
It's if you want to take advantage of that.
We have a caller.
Absolutely.
May we have your question, please?
The Woodland Skies dining room menu was cut back primarily because of staffing shortages. What is the current status of the staffing for Woodland Skies, and when can Woodland Skies return to a regular full menu?
Thank you for your question.
Absolutely. Well, obviously we have Jose on board now, and I think we only cut it back 5 items. It went from 28 to like 23 or maybe 22. But we're definitely looking at now the new menus coming out. I would definitely hope to say by the November menu that we will be back to the full. The next change, you'll see a full menu. We've hired a few more line cooks, and they're in the process of training.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so, and Jose's definitely, by November, Jose will be here going on 6 weeks. He'll be able to absorb a lot more.
So your entire staff, not just Jose, but some more line
Correct.
cooks also.
We had a new gentleman start yesterday.
Good.
We had another gentleman start about 4 weeks ago, and one about a week before that. So the onboarding is a process. We don't want to just jump into the fire. And I want Jose, there's a lot when you come into this community, whatever department you come into, there's a lot to wrap your hands around. I told Jose when I first came here, it took me 8 to 10 months till I really felt comfortable in my own shoes. Here, there's a lot to take into. Now he has one venue, and he's doing very well. He's getting acclimated. There's, learning your team, learning your residents. Well, I think the one thing I said to him, I said, if I can give you any advice, is to build those relationships with your residents and your team. We know he knows how to cook. That's the given. And learning our systems like any job you go to. Cooking hasn't changed for centuries. I mean, you pretty much, there's different process and all that, but the end result is the end result. It's just what recipes do you use? How is your kitchen set up? Your ordering process, little things like that. So I can guarantee, I would think by November.
It's really all about the people.
And I think you can see a full menu when we do the changeover in November.
Good. We'll look forward to that.
And you'll definitely see Jose putting his Chef Jose putting his touch on.
Good.
I think he added I think the stuffed peppers he added as a special last week, and Jose's I think a lot of our residents are going to enjoy, and he can elaborate on this more. He's very into the nutritional and healthy eating.
That's great. We're all for that. We have one question that came from here within the studio, and that was, I'll pass this to Chef Michael, and that was talking about improving the sound in dining rooms.
I know that that's come up quite a bit. I know that as they go through repositioning.
And I think that is one thing that will be worked on in repositioning.
Well, I think what they're looking at is if you go into the lot of the newer communities, we've gone away from these cavernous dining rooms to more quaint, more personable, maybe 80 seats. When you look at the Jefferson's 200, I think 13 or 20 some seats.
Many.
Woodland Skies 198, Fireside's around that. that adds to the noise volume. When you put 200 people in a room, obviously you're going to have noise. You cut that down, and also the way you build these dining rooms with the walls and more acoustic. I know at Ashby Ponds they have more booths, so it
And I know
keeps-
this is one thing that our hearing support group is also weighing in on also,
Yes.
that they're hoping that a sound specialist can be brought in to work on that also. So
Okay.
it is being addressed.
Yeah, I think when they do repositioning and they look at these dining rooms and how they're going to reposition them, that's definitely one of the factors they take into consideration.
And
is-
we have another telephone caller.
Okay.
May we have your question, please?
Yes, I'd like to know when you're adding something new to the bistro for lunch.
I can tell you that we've finalized the menu for the bistro.
Going to be a new menu.
We actually have a meeting this Thursday with Chef Zanab, Mama, and the bistro chefs and myself, and we're going to review that. All we're doing right now is the fundamentals. We're putting the cost together. We're going to review the menu, and hopefully you'll see that coming out within the next few weeks. I know this particular caller wanted us to add the hot dog back on, so
Okay.
that was put back on. So I know it's been a long time, and you know we definitely plan to do this sooner, but obviously there's been projects that have come up and changes that had to be implemented. But the menu is completed. Tatanisha and Chef Zanab and their team have put that together. We just have to work out the cost, and we're gonna have a final meeting on Thursday, and hopefully we can set a start date and we'll announce that.
Something to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Do you serve the same hot dogs all over campus?
Yes, we'd like to, and yeah, we use a Hebrew National.
It's a wonderful hot dog.
Yeah, and the difference is you can get a different size.
Oh, they come in different sizes.
Hot dogs come where they call 4x1, 6x1, and what that means is how many per pound.
Interesting.
So we like to do the 4x1 because they're the nice larger
Those are
size.
almost
And the
more than I
ones-
can eat.
And that's the ones we do in the cafe.
Okay.
But yeah, we like to use the Hebrew National.
And that's an all beef hot dog.
It's an all beef hot dog, and I think it's one of the better products out there. So
It's a very tasty hot dog.
we do, I think, the residents, it's funny, the residents, we do all these different menus, but when it comes down to it, sometimes it's the pizza, the hot dog,
Love
the
that pizza.
hamburgers. It's the simple and the comfort food. We could put, if I did a menu of coconut shrimp, meatloaf, and chicken pot pie,
Everybody be happy?
out the door all night long.
There you go.
But we also like to mix in, obviously, the little, like we're doing a Key West chowder coming up on our specials. We're bringing back the crab cake. We're bringing back some more seafood dishes. We added in some beef. You'll see the specials over in Woodland. Chef Jose and the sous chefs and myself sat down just 2 days ago and literally wrote the specials for the next 2 months. So we did a nice little mix. We added some vegetarian options in there, and that's
Good.
Chef Jose's touch to that.
Good.
So and we put in, try to mix it up with some duck, some crab cakes, the stuffed flounder, which the flounder imperial, I think the residents like. So you'll see some new specials.
What is the one, if I had to ask you, what is the one most popular food?
I'd say one of the top ones is probably bourbon salmon,
Bourbon salmon.
filet, obviously, lamb chops that we're doing right now in Woodland Skies, crab cakes. You all have good taste. I'm not going to deny. And it's
Refined
funny
taste.
when we get together with the other chefs and they're like, "You serve that?" I'm like, "Yeah, every day." And I think a few years back we did the Mid-Atlantic conference here, and we did the lamb, and the residents from the other community are like, "Wow!" And I forget who's sitting at the table, like, "Oh no, this is what we get all the time." So you all do have refined taste, but you deserve that. You live in a beautiful place, and you should expect the food to match it. And I think that with chefs like Jose and Chef Mark and Chef Suzanne and Chef Zanab Mama and all the sous chefs, I think they strive for that. And we're always looking at, what can we offer? What's the next thing? So
I think it's good for you to introduce us to unusual foods too, that aren't in our history.
Right.
Here I am, the little farm girl from Ohio, and yes, as a sheep raiser, I'm glad that you're serving lamb. That's good. But to eat duck and eat plantain and quinoa and some of the unusual fruits and vegetables that we don't have in our history, that it's good for us to learn to eat.
And it's, change it up every now and then. Obviously we're going to have the go-tos that we
Sure.
call them, and the staples. And those are always, if we ever took salmon off the menu, I think they'd throw me
yeah.
outside the gate.
Don't forget
but
it.
I think, how else can we do the same? And there's so many different variations, and we can do healthy choice options, and we can do, and we can take the salmon and we can add tilapia and we can add trout. Trout was, rockfish during the season, flounder. There's a lot of different seafoods we can do. We can do beef in so many different ways. One of the things is people say brisket. Everybody loves a good brisket. So we try to mix it up. And going back to what I said before, it's the comment cards. We read those.
And I'm glad you mentioned those. And let's, again, and we say this every time that I talk with you, is fill out those comment cards. Those comment cards are read. They are used.
Absolutely.
And I always say, but nobody reads the comment cards. Yes,
I can tell you that Phyllis generates a report that goes out to the Resident Dining Council, and it goes out to all the managers.
But before Phyllis even gets that report, what first happens with those comment
Well, they
cards?
all go to the individual venues, and those managers and chefs read them.
Before they ever get to Phyllis.
Yeah, and a lot of the menu changes are, if you see that, let's say someone said, oh, we haven't had, lamb chops in a while, and you see 5, 6, 7 cards come aboard. We're like, all right, well, I think we need to add the lamb chops on. Or we haven't seen lasagna in a while. Summertime, a lot of residents were calling for the fruit soups, the chilled soups, and you see those at least once a week.
Those comment cards are used.
They do help. They're not, they're not discarded, or we're not going to look at them. They're taken very seriously.
They're used by your dining services
And I
committee.
always say,
they're discussed. They're used.
You see any of the chefs in the
Yes.
hallways or in the dining rooms, please stop us.
Yes.
Talk to us.
Our time has come to an end, sadly. Chef Jose, welcome.
Thank you.
We're glad you're here. We hope you'll come back again soon. Chef Michael, always good
Always
to
a
talk to you.
pleasure to see you.
Sorry we didn't have more call-ins, but
It's
we
all
had
right.
a good discussion, a lot of good information.
Absolutely.
And before we leave here today, we do have some announcements.